Let's see.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Artistry of Cartomancy. We are back. I'm here with my dear friend, colleague, fellow card slinger, Miss Kim from Abundant Life Tarot. How are you,
Hello.
my dear?
I am great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I am doing well. I am very happy to be sitting here chatting with you and chatting with whoever else comes along to join us on this fine. It's a sunny day here in Nova Scotia, so we're happy for
Ooh.
that.
Yes, I know it. Is it warm?
It's warmer than it's been. It's like mid 30s, which that's pretty warm for us right about now.
Okay.
And we've still got lots of snow on the ground, but it's warming up. Things are looking up.
Okay. Okay. Getting closer to spring. And here it is, not a cloud in the sky in the Dominican Republic. And I'm grateful for that. But it's starting to tick up in the temperatures. It had been kind of cool from that Arctic dip from the North America. It started to dip into to the Caribbean and make us kind of cold. But that dip is lifting. It's like it's pulling back up, and now I'm like, I wish I had the dip still.
Bring back the dip. Where's the
Bring
dip?
back the dip.
Uh,
Oh, goodness. Well, I
dear
just
me.
have to say, before we dive in, it's not
Yeah,
letting me
you can't
be able
stream
to stream.
simultaneously. Oh,
Yeah.
bummer.
Maybe they
Yeah.
made that a premium thing finally, because it was like for a while they gave us a taste of us being able to do that.
Uh,
And now I'm not seeing it anymore. So I guess I should start considering paying for the premium for StreamYard. I guess.
okay, something more for us to chat about. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anywho, okay, so we're here on my channel, so we'll see who happens by,
yes.
who wants to join us. We were hoping Kim could stream too, because she's got a good, strong following. So anyway, we're here and we have a fun topic for today. We chose this topic because we thought, well, let's do something a little lighter right now because everything is heavy and hard and stressful for people, especially Americans and Canadians and just everybody. It's everybody. But so we're going to try to keep it light, but this is a cool, rich topic and there's lots of places we could go. So, tired old tropes about card readers. We want to talk about like we've got a list of what, like 5 or 6 now, I guess, that came to us. And we'll see what else comes as we're chatting and as others come in and join us. Put in the comments like what do you when you think of a tired old trope about card reader, what comes to mind? And
For
we just
sure.
kind of want to break it down. And basically, we're talking about stereotypes about people who do what we do.
Right.
And we want to bust the myth and talk about, what we think about that and, how we can educate the public going forward so that we all experience less, what's the
Hmm.
word?
Well,
Like,
the stigmatizing of us and trying to minimize us, that, we are crooks and things of that nature. And we want it, like you said, that's the point of this, to educate the public, but to empower us as well, So,
right.
so yeah. So that's awesome. I see our Donna Riedler is here.
Yeah, and I just tried to comment to her and it's saying YouTube rejected my comment. This usually
Oh,
means they think it's spam. Try changing it a bit. What? I just said
the
hi.
bots.
Oh my gosh.
The bots. Hopefully, you'll be able to just to share, like on the screen, highlight her comment, and oh, there you
All
are.
right.
There you go.
Well, I tried again. I left out the exclamation points and your last initial, Donna R. So I don't know why that is less
Yeah.
spam like. But anyway, hello and welcome to my fellow Donna. So we just got started. We got started a little late, and we're just introducing the topic, and we're glad you're here, and we're hoping others come along. So
Yes,
we want to talk about, these old stereotypes about what card readers are, who they are, what they do, or how they do it. No, no, no. And we want to try to keep it light and have some fun with it. But knowing us, we'll get a little heavy at some point, and then we'll bring it on back.
that's right.
Um, should I should I mention the book right now? Just talk about.
Yes, please do, because I think
Okay,
it'll be a great read for folks.
so in large part, like, we could have sort of picked the topic, and then I guess we realized, like, it's come from this wonderful new book from Tom Benjamin, our very own, The Modern Fortune Teller's Field Guide. I just so highly recommend it. Look, I mean, I'm halfway through. I'm highlighting the heck out of it. I'm enjoying every little morsel of it. It's so well written. It's rich. It's thoughtful.
Yes.
It's what I've been looking for. I said to Kim the other day, like, this is what I've been looking for years, like a
Mm-hmm.
manual of, like, what is this and how do I do it?
Yeah.
It's really great. So we're going to be talking a lot about the intro and the first couple pages of the first chapter, because he really starts talking about the whole history of the word fortune teller, the profession of fortune telling, and how and why it got such a bad rap. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're
Mm-hmm.
starting. Yeah, and
Mm.
Donna's saying, let me see if I can put her comment up. I'm a little clunky here, guys. Yeah, she's been hearing about the book. Or, yeah, people are talking about it right around TarotTube.
Yes,
So,
and with good reason. I have it on my uh, Kindle.
yeah, and
Yes.
Kim's just started reading it too. So, okay, so let's dive right in. So and I said to Kim right before we went live, I'm like, my challenge will be to not constantly talk about the book and quote from the book. We want to have our own discussion, and we want to discuss with you guys too what what you think. So, but let's start with number one, which is all readers are con artists slash fortune tellers, and that the word fortune teller is, like, not a good thing. So
Hmm.
let's start right there. Kim, what would you like to say about that?
Well, when I posed a little question in our community tab and then on Instagram, and that was, I only had a couple of responses for, on each, but that was the common thing that we are basically con artists. And I remember before I ever considered being a reader, you think about the stereotypes. You think about, oh, Miss Cleo, and then you remember the one, what was it, 1-900 numbers in the U.S. or the 976 numbers. I don't know if that was universal around the country, but there was this element of they're only trying to get your money. They just want your money, and that had me feeling a way when I started doing readings, because it was like, I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to be linked to that, because I don't want to ever give out an impression that I'm a con artist or that I'm trying to con someone. And many times, for many years, I did readings for free. There was no conning going on. There was me just generously giving my energy. And I felt a way even about charging for readings, even though this is now my bread and butter, this is what I do, and it's proper to have an energy exchange. I felt a way even about charging because of that stigma. So
Hmm.
that's what I have to share about that. But I thought that was interesting. That was the number one. And it was, I think, mine too. Well, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I think that's a consistent one. How about you, Doc?
I would agree. I mean, I think it is the number one thing. It's the number one thing that kind of makes me bristle or hesitate to share when someone says, "What are you doing now? What are you up to?" Like, well, because it's like this unspoken in the culture,
Yeah.
um, that there's something shady. There's something shady if you read cards for people. And we are just here to say that is so not the truth. It's not my experience. I'm sure Kim would say it's not her. Like,
Right.
the people I know that read cards, the people which are mainly people here on TarotTube that I follow, my sense of them, my experience of them is always that they are givers. They're healers. They're what I would
Yes.
call medicine people. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to help people and be of service. There's so
Right.
many people now who do amazing readings over YouTube for free. They
Yes.
they can't even see you. They just they may, they may not even know you from other live streams. Like anybody can come into a live, like anybody could come into this live right now. It's open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Ask a question and readers will read for you and give you like really amazing, insightful information for
Right.
free.
Right.
How uh, how is that like what are they getting? Most of them are small channels. They're not even monetized or barely monetized. So they're literally making nothing or next to nothing for
Right. Even
doing
if
a
they are
live.
monetized, yeah, it's still next to nothing
Is
for their
nothing.
energy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just put that out there up front that no, most readers today, vast majority are people that they are in the business to help people. We're doing this because we care about people.
Mm-hmm.
We're interested in people. We just naturally like to, you know, talk to people. Like I love talking to people and hearing about people. What's your story? What's going on? What has your life path been like?
Mm-hmm.
How can I like to trade stories with people. Like in large part as my reading practice is unfolding, I see it as being a form of storytelling or story. I call it story weaving.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to me, you sit down, you start to tell me your story. I'm shuffling cards, pulling cards, but other stories are coming to me from my own life, from other people that I know, and that's the intuitive part being
Right.
given to me. And that then I begin to share those stories, weave those stories with you because somehow they will help you with your questions, with your problems.
All right.
Anyway, that's a bit of an aside.
But it's important. I remember when I lived in Sacramento or Sacramento County in California, and there was a new metaphysical shop that opened in the town next over from where I live. And that city had an ordinance that you could do readings, but you couldn't actually collect money for those readings. You could collect tips, or they could buy other things in your store,
Hmm.
but they couldn't be paid specifically for that, which is so interesting because just the town over, I lived in an unincorporated area. I could do readings. So I bring that up because it was a new shop. They were selling crystals, decks, books, all the things. And they had great readers, and I had a phenomenal reader. And she gave me a very profound reading. And I tipped her, and I went off and bought like a couple of decks and stuff like that there. And during the pandemic, the shop closed, and I couldn't help but think, like, if they were being paid for those readings, yeah, they could sell merchandise and stuff like that. But if they were getting paid for those readings, they'd still be around offering this great service. So hold on one second. Let me tell
Sure.
him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this whole idea of getting
Mm,
paid for what we do. And that's a point that Tom brings up at the very beginning of the book. He talks about how, can I find that quote? Like how many people who are readers, they came from culture, okay, I have to find the quote. Do
Yeah,
you know
go
what I'm
ahead.
talking
Take your
about?
time. Yeah, well, was it in the first chapter? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah,
realized
I
he, in
think it's
his
this paragraph.
acknowledgments, he named some of my friends. That makes Auntie
Oh,
Kay
nice.
is mentioned
That's
here
I
in his
saw
note.
Auntie K.
Kuna
Yeah,
said, oh,
totally. Rachel
and
Pollack.
Havana from Sparkle Divine Tarot. I'm like, oh, I love Tom
Yeah,
Benjamin. I'm gonna
so
be.
awesome.
So it
Here, okay, here's
says,
the quote. It's page
okay,
2. I think this is what I'm thinking of.
okay,
Um, a fortune teller isn't any better or worse than any other tradesperson. That was like one of the very first lines that stopped me in my track. I was like, oh my God, this is the book. Like, this is what I need. We're not any better than any other tradesperson.
right,
But the societal view of them is deeply impacted by racism, sexism, classism, and often anti-queerness. It has historically been women, people of global majority, queer people, and impoverished people who practice these arts. In some cases, that's because these, quote, survival jobs were all that was available. In other cases, these communities practiced it because they emerged from a culture in which divination was always part of everyday life. Either way, it is a bias and not artistry that paints the fortune teller with such a negative brush. It went from an intentional attempt to discredit anything considered unchristian, despite the Bible being riddled with fortune tellers, prophets, lot casters, dreamers, all those, what he's saying is all those types of people are talked about constantly in the Bible, right? That's
True.
divination.
Right.
That's just old-timey language for divination.
Mm-hmm.
To a cultural bias that extends today even into divination communities.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway.
Which was interesting when he dived into that, because it does. We've talked about that in the past on Artistry of Cartomancy, about even in our own communities, we adopt those kind of beliefs and try to distance ourselves from fortune telling, predicting the future, collecting money for our readings. And that's not really reading for people if you're doing all those things. But, I loved how he shaped the start of the chapter, the start of the book, really. And he goes right straight into that. And I highlighted, that's so funny. This is the section I highlighted
Yeah,
that. So,
totally. No, he gets right into it. And I will say, like, absolute confession, like, the word fortune teller, like, it's very, very recent that I'm coming to be comfortable with that word myself. And it was just from lack of knowledge. And this, like, unspoken, half conscious, wasn't really sure where I got it from, this kind of cultural bias that, like, fortune telling, I don't, no, I'm doing more counseling, self-help with cards. I don't want to be called that. And like now I'm on the boat now. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Call me what you want. Call me a seer, call me a sensitive fortune teller. Okay. There's another, just a couple pages in, there's another part where he talks about how where was that? I don't think I can find it right now. Shoot. About what fortune telling.
I see the what's a fortune teller section.
Yeah, I'm not gonna find it.
Such a
Yeah, because
good
I don't
book.
even know what I'm looking for. Anyway, yeah, he turns the word around. He's like, there's lots of ways you can look at it, and he
Right.
comes up with a different multiple definitions of fortune
Oh,
telling. Do you know what I'm
yes.
saying? It was more like,
Yes. I'm trying to see if I can find it, but I can't. Of course. Of course,
yeah, all
it's just
right,
like when you're
I
looking
know.
for a
Just
card in the
talk.
78 cards in a deck, and you're like, I'm just trying to find the Queen of Cups. Where is she? And then you can't find her because you're on the spot. It's like that. Um,
Yeah.
but then even the Ford by Maria Manis, I think it is, she says, as you move through this book, I encourage you to consider the context in which you are reading it. Tom writes, divination is political. How does your practice ripple out into the world? What are the stories you're telling yourself, and how do they play into the greater story of humanity? And what could be the fortune in all of this? The fortune is ours to tell. And there's still room for free will when you are doing fortune telling. And I just thought that was so impactful because yeah, it's Maria Menace. But nevertheless,
Right.
we get to define it on our terms. Do I do predictive readings? Yes, I do. But I'm like looking at the potentiality, the possibilities, and I give my querent, my client, different paths that they can take. And we explore what could be the outpicturing of it. You have this option, that option, this option. And they are at the helm. You still have free will choice to
Right.
go and make a decision. I'm not here to define your future. Now, maybe there are readers out there who that's what they do. but we are so unique, and we're not a monolith, and that's also a cool thing about our community as well. We're not, but you get to define. You get, what story are you putting out? How are you divining, and how is that rippling out into the world? And so, yeah. um
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like, to me, that is, I always lead with like, I basically ask like, okay, have you had a reading before? And then if you have, like, just tell me a little bit about it. Like, because I need to get a sense of where's the client coming from? What's their experience? And then I just try to, as quickly and succinctly as I can, based on what they tell me, say, well, this is who I am and this is how I read, and just summarize for them. And one of my big themes is like, I'm here to empower you. Like, I
mhm.
don't claim to do predictive readings, although I may allow myself to now move more in that direction.
True.
Now that I understand better, like, what my angst about that was and what my bias about that was. Like, where is that coming
Bias.
from? It's
Yes.
coming, right? It's coming from the culture of like, oh God, don't play God, like,
True.
if you're helping somebody, if you're in conversation with the client, they're giving information and you're pulling cards and interpreting for them, that's help, that can be very, very helpful, as long as you don't do it with this air of like, this is for sure. Like, I'm never wrong. Like a reader who says they're
True.
never wrong.
Oh,
Run, run,
yeah.
Forrest, run in the opposite direction. Like,
Yeah. I'm never wrong. Yikes.
yeah. Like,
Ooh, that's a red flag.
one of my people that I look up to, Dr. Jennifer Lisa Vest, who's a medium. What else is she? She's a medical medium. She's got various titles,
Yes,
but she always says like the best readers are 75 to 80% accurate.
that's right. She says in
I
her
love, like,
ethical psychic book. Yes.
she's written, the author of The Ethical Psychic. So,
Mm,
anyway, that's a great. So anyway, so empowering people, it's all about empowering people.
for sure. For
Okay.
sure.
Should we, maybe I'll just like read out our list and then we'll kind of weave in and out. And we have a comment here from Donna I want to put
Yeah,
up.
she's giving us a
Um,
few.
Oh, okay, let's see. Let's see what she's talking about, and then I'll read our list for us. So, she's saying, I don't read professionally, but people who've known me for years as a quote normal person then find out I read cards, look at me sideways for a second. I totally get that. So
Yeah, I
get
think we can
that.
relate to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if marginalized people who often need to be hyper aware of the environment and people's energy towards them end up becoming highly intuitive.
Yeah, and empathic for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're always having to anticipate and sense out, like, is this safe? Is this a safe environment? Can I share this? Is it appropriate? Like, whereas maybe people who are not part of the marginalized community doesn't have to have, I mean, yeah, to some extent you may have to be concerned about that if you're in the Bible Belt of America or something like that. But generally speaking, marginalized people have to always be on guard, and it does make you probably more sensitive and more empathic, which then probably heightens your intuition, right? From all that experience of having to do that. So, yeah. What else did Donna say?
As with any trade, some people are more experienced, skilled, more ethical, etc., than others. Such a good
True.
point, right?
Yes. Accountants, attorneys, I, even doctors.
Right, right.
I
Even medical
mean,
professionals.
yeah. So there's
Yeah, and
that.
I just find it so like, I think it's a helpful thing that we do for our clients and for kind of the public in general, right? Because you're educating your client, you're getting to know your client, and then they're going to go tell everybody, what did you do? Oh, how did that reading go? What was she like? It's important to help people understand that, we're diverse card readers. We're diverse, like, we come from all kinds of backgrounds. We have all kinds of different training.
True.
There's tarot readers, there's oracle readers, there's Lenormand readers, there's
Mm-hmm.
Kipper reader, whatever. There's people who only read with pendulum. There's people who throw bones. There's lots
Hmm.
of kinds of divination, and just even within cards, right? There's lots of different ways to read cards for people.
Hmm.
There's people who just do straight ahead cardomancy with playing cards,
True.
right? Like, I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't use playing cards.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and like people don't realize that. They come to you thinking somehow you're all knowing, all seeing, you know everything there is to know about tarot or any kind of cards. And
Oh,
so I think it's important to help them to realize, like, okay, well, this is just who I am, really briefly, succinctly. You don't want to like go on and like give them a little,
that's true.
lecture. You just be like, well, I do it like this and blah blah blah, and you know, and then just get down to it. What's your question? Throw the cards and try to help them.
One
So
of the AI ones, so I asked AI, what are some common stereotypes and tropes for card readers? And to piggyback on what you're talking about, is one of them they call it the all knowing fate bender. It says, we can force the will of others and not only predict the future, but mold it too. Many people think we are all the same. They all are also let down when we embody this trope as a reader. I thought this was AI. Now I have my own
mhm.
list, but
Interesting.
I thought that was funny when you said that. Like we're all knowing, and it's like I try to make it clear. Like I'm not all knowing, and that's going to have to be okay if you work with me. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
there
me
it
too.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, and I try to always slip in, like, I believe in free will, and try to make sure they understand, like that could, some people don't get that right away, like just like you free will, you're in charge of your own destiny. Like
true.
I can't predict your destiny or change your destiny for you, right?
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Donna has a stereotype. She put it. Yeah, there it is.
Another stereotype, not necessarily negative, but just mistaken. That we're all psychics and or mediums. That's on our list,
That is on our
definitely.
list.
Yeah, all right, so let's go there.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
there.
So, right. People, like you come to a card reader and a lot of people think like, well, that means they're psychic. As in they can I how did I write it on my list?
Let me
Psychic
see.
slash mind reader. I get this a lot. Like as soon as somebody comes to me, and we're kind of starting the reading or even, easing into the reading room or what,
Mm-hmm.
it's like they think you kind of switch something on and you can start literally like reading their mind,
That's right.
And I think that's also a lot, oftentimes why people who are new to reading and, skeptical, they come to you and they don't want to tell you like anything or next to
Yes.
nothing. Like they're even hesitant to give you a question because they
Yeah.
think somehow you're so psychic, you can read their mind and they want you to prove that,
Right.
and like, I won't read that way. I just won't read that way.
That's
Now, I
right.
can read body language really well and I can feel other people's emotions very
Mm-hmm.
clearly in my body. And sometimes their physical ailments register in my body right away, which is not comfortable. And I try not to, you know, do that too much. But that's not the same thing as reading someone's mind. Um, so what do you think about that, Kim?
I agree. You like so the venues that I do readings on, not so much my private clients because they can see my site, they can check out my channel, they get a pretty good understanding of who I am as a reader. But when I'm working the hotlines, or if let's say I was working a fair or a festival and they don't know, especially like festivals and things of that nature where they have this preconceived notion of you that you're a mind reader, where you could just tell me what's on my mind. They might even start the conversation, well, read my mind. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not. I'm a cartomancer. And sometimes it can be frustrating when you're doing a reading and people will be like, well, this doesn't seem like, like you're just predicting and telling me. Well, because I'm actually looking at the cards, I'm listening to my intuition, yes, on what symbols to tap into for the cards, or what colors to focus in on, and what emotions does it evoke in me, or what do I see in like the depiction of a card. But I'm looking at the cards. with mediums and mind readers, they are able to do all of that here. I love working with cards. Now, sure, if I push myself, I could probably manage to be a medium. Mind reader, no. And I'm not trying to be a mind reader. I ain't got time for that. But I think we all, to some degree, have different levels of mediumship abilities. Some exercise, just like with intuition, you exercise it more and more and more. But when I'm doing professional readings, I'm a card reader, and that's what I'm doing. And don't, and like sometimes, like on the hotlines, they'll be like, "Well, I don't want you to use cards." Well, that's problematic. I can do that, but that's problematic because all over my profile it says I'm a cartomancer. I'm a card reader. So why would you choose me? There's plenty of other readers out there on the platform that says they don't work with cards or tools. So why are you coming to me?
Mm.
And so it's
That must
almost
be tricky. Like, are you usually in chat with them when that happens, or you're on a voice call, or?
sometimes it could be a live call or chat. It could be also a 3-minute video reading where they'll say, please no cards. And you're like,
Right.
okay,
Why am I your
fine.
girl?
Yeah, like I'll do it, but I don't want to. Now, if it was a private client, I'd be like, well, then I'm not interested in reading for you. But with the hotlines, it's kind of like, to
Yeah.
reject you, you can't just reject them just because of
Yeah.
that,
It's too
even though you
complicated.
should be able to, in
Yeah.
my humble opinion. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
For
Like,
sure.
so that's my long-winded answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole point about mediums too, like, I had tried to make it two separate things, but they get mushed together, just like Donna's saying, we're psychic and or medium, because not all psychics are mediums,
True.
right? Not all psychics are mediums. So by medium, we mean someone who can sense and converse with people who are not embodied. So dead people on the other side of the veil, right? Um, but mediumship is also, it's a very subtle art. And again, my feeling is that like the general public, they see it as kind of this very black and white thing of like, oh, if you're a medium, well, if you're a card reader, you're a medium. And that means like if I walk in and, you can tell that like, yeah, my mother's standing right beside me and you can give a message from her. Well, no, but if you start telling me your story and your question and your issues, and then I kind of tune into that and I pull cards and I'm aware of like, okay, here's a person who is still letting go of their mother, right? Just
Right.
going with that example. They're still coming to terms with the death of their mother. They're, they have regrets and sadness and all kinds of things. And then, they give me the question and I'm looking at the cards. There can be this sense of like, okay, there's some kind of subtle mediumship going on here between myself, for this client and their mother. But to me, that's subtle mediumship. That's why, like, I don't call
Mm,
myself a medium. I
I
have had
like that.
definite times when I'm
Hmm.
aware of other people's deceased loved ones, that sense of how they're impacting them.
Hmm.
But I'm not clairvoyant in that way. I won't
Hmm.
necessarily like see someone standing beside you or
Right.
feels feel the presence of that. Some people smell, they get strange smells and then
Yeah.
they ask the client, oh, what is
Or
this?
they could see names and letters, like real on, like shocking, like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can see. Is there a John? You're like, what?
Right, right.
My
Right.
Uncle John.
Right. They get given little fragments of names and then figure out the name and then all of a sudden the client's like, oh my God, that's my Uncle John who just died last week.
Right. Because that's what Donna says. She says sometimes people's secrets do come out in the cards, though, and they do. Um, the cards are interesting. They're
Cards
interesting what
are
they
they're
reveal.
very perceptive and they are listening through a whole series of subtle quantum physics. That's all we
Yeah,
can't go there today. That's a whole other show that needs a lot of preparation. But no, the
for
cards
sure.
are in tune with us.
That's right. We
And
are the
science,
oracle. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, that is those are two really big ones that I feel like we have to deal with all the time. And I feel it's important to be clear about that with clients, because otherwise, there's a lot of confusion. They can be disappointed. Um, they come in expecting something that they don't necessarily give voice to, and then you're wondering, like, why aren't they happy with the reading? Why do they seem disappointed? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it is really important to be clear. Like, if you're not doing a psychic reading per se, or a mediumship reading, state that to clients, because they often assume that you can do all those things. They don't understand that those are separate gifts,
Modalities. Yeah,
service
gifts. Yeah,
modalities, right? Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Gifts, like you said, perfect way of calling it. Um, yeah, we're different. We're unique, and that's what's so special. I noticed, like with true crime readings, we get a lot of that. Like, well, aren't you psychic? I'm a card reader. And yeah, you probably have seen some like not readers but psychics discussing the same case, and they're not using cards, or they painting out this whole story picture, and I'm telling the story through the cards. And so there's always educating people, especially folks
Hmm.
especially who don't do readings, as it's yeah, it's always an education, I'd say.
I agree. And I think it's important that we just, like, we know that and we embrace that. Like, the more I embrace that instead of fighting that, like, okay, a big part of my job is going to be, assessing where they're at up front, asking a really quick, decisive question, like, okay, what's your experience with readings? And, and then telling them quickly, again, telling quick who I am, and that, like, the better things will go. And that it's not only for them, I do it for everybody else. Like, I do it for everybody here, all
Mhm.
card reader kind, you know what I mean? It's like, you're helping everybody trying to be a reader. If whoever comes to your table, you're clear about who you are, what you can do and what you can't do. And PS, tell them, like, everybody reads a little different. So
Right.
yeah, be okay with that. Yeah. Here's
uh,
another example from Donna. She said, oh, I missed it. This one. So
mm-hmm,
she thinks Kristen Louise is another tarot tuber who has a channel here. She was going to read
mm-hmm.
at an event, and the organizers listed her on the program as psychic. So, in other words, without even checking
Oh,
with her.
just putting us under this umbrella. and
Yeah.
and we as card readers, we like to identify as what we are. We are card readers, or tarot card readers, or oracle readers. um yeah, I don't know if I've ever had anyone. Well, they call them psychic hotlines, but at least with psychic hotlines, you can label yourself. You could be like, oh, I'm into tarot cards, I'm into oracle cards. Some people are into angel cards and things of that nature. You get to, under the psychic umbrella. But I know, working at a festival, I made it very clear. I'm like, when I worked a few times, I'm like, I'm a tarot card reader. So, okay, just
But
put that on your
nothing
banner.
more. Yeah.
But I know she wasn't pleased. That would be
Yeah.
annoying. Super
Even
annoying.
tarot card reading. I mean, this is a bit of a side. I'll just say, like, as someone who, like, I'm more
Mm.
comfortable reading oracle cards. I've read oracle cards a lot longer than I've read tarot. And because tarot has this long history, and
Oh,
there are three main modality, like, you could call yourself a tarot reader, but if somebody's only ever had a Marseille reading, and, like, I don't read Marseille, right?
right.
And they come to you, and and they're like, well, that's not, then they think, like, you don't really know what you're talking about, because they
True.
they had a Marseille reading, or they had a Thoth reading, right? The three
Mm-hmm.
main systems: Rider-Waite-Smith, Marseille, and Thoth. And they
Mm-hmm.
can be a very different experience. The cards can look very, oftentimes look very different,
True.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole thing that we have to navigate too. Like, well, there's, and so I give that as an example to people. I'm like, well, like any discipline, right? There are multiple schools of thought. I had that in
Yes.
feng shui too. There were people that were very Eastern trained, feng shui, certain sects of feng shui. And then my teacher was American and developed her own school and way of doing
Oh,
things and combined Native American beliefs with it,
oh, that's
So,
cool.
and
Yeah.
I would occasionally, not a lot, but a few times people are like, what do you, well, I don't, I don't get it, I would just say,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is the school I was trained in. And, with experience, you learn to stand in that, to really claim it and own it and
That's
not let
right.
it sway you too much because it can very easily make you feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I am a fraud, right? I am a
Yeah,
fraud
because I'm
because,
not doing it the way. Yeah, the
yeah,
official way.
seriously. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. So,
Hmm.
all these
That's
things that
interesting.
we have to look out for and be mindful of.
True.
Okay, so we did psychics and mediums. So all readers are not psychics or mind readers, and all readers are not mediums who can talk to the dead. So that is a tired old trope. And we're tired of it. Just
We are
stop it
tired.
already.
Yeah, let's erase that from the minds, people. Even the ones in our community. It's okay if you're not psychic. It's okay if like you're just by the book. I'm not even sure if I'm using my intuition or not, but I think I'm reading the cards. That's okay too. Like there's room for all of us. All of us.
Absolutely. And listen, this is alive and well. That reminds me of a story. Months ago, I don't know, sometime in the last year, I was on TikTok kind of regularly for one person, Jennifer Lisa Vest, because she was doing lives there and I wanted to hear what she was talking about. And then I started seeing like, oh, there's so many card readers on TikTok, right? I was like the little old lady. I'm like, what are these kids up to on TikTok? Except they weren't kids. Like there were people, like anywhere from 30 to 70, 80. I was like, look at all these people on TikTok doing readings. How are they doing it? And so I had, very quickly, just like YouTube, you find people that you like, right? That you resonate with and you start following them. So I was following this one woman and I really enjoyed her. She was very funny. Like I just loved her wit. She's from Texas and she's real kind of, sassy and everything. And I just thought she was fun and I'd be in her chat, and stuff. And then one night I don't even know if it was alive. I think it was just like a little pre-recorded thing that she put up that I watched of hers. And she was trying to do these little kind of mini infomercials about doing card readings. She mainly worked with tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the, all right, that's not relevant. But one night she said, yeah, and if a card reader isn't psychic, they're not a real card reader. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Like in a second, I was just like,
That's a turn off.
that that's just really, but why would she say that? Like when you think someone over TikTok, like, of course I don't know her, right? I'm just watching her.
Yeah, but yeah, you've
But
been
I had no
watching her for a while.
I know. I mean, I'm summarizing, but that is literally basically what she said. I don't remember what the whole topic was that she was talking about, but she was giving this little mini lesson on what it meant to be a card reader. And she had previously said, I don't know if it was the same little thing, but she had said, and card readers, they should always use the cards with the keywords on it so that, they're telling the truth. I'm like,
Okay.
I
Mm,
mean, for me, it was kind of freeing because I like those keyword cards, especially
those
when
are
I'm like,
great. Yeah.
when I'm having to read really fast for people, it's helpful, makes my job easier. But then she crossed the line. She was like, yeah, but if they're not psychic, like, you shouldn't get a reading from them. They're not the real deal. Or so I
Well,
think it was like, if after they've been reading for like a year or two, they're not psychic, forget it.
okay.
Like, and
Eh,
yeah. So I was like, oh, we shouldn't do that to each other,
we
right? Like,
really
come
shouldn't.
on.
And
That's
it's
gatekeeping.
icky. Yeah, it's gatekeeping.
Yeah,
It's
it's
icky.
gatekeeping.
There's many people who use cards. They don't have any keywords. There's ones who use tarot and they read strictly intuitive. They don't even necessarily worry about the book meanings. And again, I always harp on this. There's room for all of the different types of ways we approach readings, particularly tarot, right? Like, you know, it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different approach. I think I forgot his name. I think his name is Robin. I forgot the name of his channel, but he approaches tarot reading or cartomancy very much. I think he said he does. It's not so much like intuitive. It's like, um, I want to say like a psychological approach or what have you. Like there's different ways of approaching it. And to me, there's no right or wrong as long as you're not doing any harm to yourself or others. The sky's the limit. We shouldn't be
I agree.
gatekeeping. We shouldn't be gatekeeping. And
No,
that,
I agree. And
oh,
just be
that,
clear.
yeah, that's so funny. One of the other ones for the AI that came up, it says, this is the title of the trope. The gatekeeper of secret knowledge. They are portrayed as holding ancient, closely guarded secrets and being the only source of true insight.
Mm,
And then I wrote a little side note. These readers usually claim they are the only ones who can access insights, or that, and then I'll add the caveat also, or the addition, that if you aren't one of these gatekeepers, then you're no good. You're of no use. You're no benefit to doing readings for others. And that's just not true. It's just not
no,
true.
that's an ego trip. That that
Yeah.
that's an ego out of control. That's what that is. And that's
Yeah.
not,
And a
that's not
money
being in
grab.
service. Like
Right.
my constant prayer and invocation when I do the work is, let me be of service. Let me help
Mm-hmm.
this person here and now who's in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me answer their question and let me see in the cards what wants to be seen, what's ready
That's
to be
right.
seen.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I love that. So yes. So
And Donna's asking, was that Robin from
let
that Robin?
me see.
Was
I
that
was
Robin
looking
from
on.
Toadstool
Yes,
Tarot?
thank you. I knew it was toadstool,
Yeah.
or it was. I could see the mushroom in my head, but I couldn't think of toadstool. Yes, he uses it as a psychological tool, and
Yeah, she's agreeing with you. She
yeah.
remembers him saying that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a totally legit way to use it. And
Mm-hmm.
more, every time I turn around, I'm hearing or reading somewhere that lots of therapists are now using cards in their
They
practice with
are.
clients. And I would
Yes,
imagine that in large part they're responding to the culture because cards are everywhere.
that's
Like
true.
so many people are interested in cards. You go into large chain bookstores, they're they're everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
more if you go into the psychology section or the self-help section where the psych books are, you'll see decks that they're
That's
clearly
true.
made for therapists,
That's right.
you
I went
know?
to a therapist who had cards, like I think she also did art therapy too, but she had a deck of cards in there, and I was like, oh look, like
Yeah.
look
It's
at
great.
us,
It's
like
so great, right? Like, yeah.
yes.
It's
So
legitimizing more and more what we're doing.
it's legit. It's all
Yeah.
legit. So yeah. So yeah. And I'm
But yeah,
like,
you want to be careful not to give anything too much power, not any particular type of reader, type of tool, type of card deck, right? Like it's just cards are just a tool.
yeah.
They're a really fun tool and they can be a very powerful tool, but like, the real magic is between the reader and the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting
Mm-hmm.
together,
That's true. That's
sharing
true.
information, trying to help each other. So,
Mm-hmm.
exchanging energy.
Look who's here.
And look who's here. Here's Tarot Stash. Hey, Gerald, welcome.
Hi, Gerald. So
Bringing
good to
tarot
see you.
into my therapy was a major shift. It gave words where there were none. Oh, I'd love to hear more about all that. That's
Yes,
awesome.
that is awesome.
So, Gerald,
Yes.
if you're comfortable sharing, like, did you bring it to your therapist? Were you like, look, I'm a card reader. Can we do this? Or it sounds like you brought it to your therapist. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And
And
yeah, I think that's amazing.
I was looking back here, and we've been talking about this book, this wonderful new book by Tom Benjamin, The Modern Fortune Teller's Field Guide. I was looking to see if there was a quote here in the beginning
Okay.
related to what we're talking about. There's just
Oh,
so much good stuff here.
it really is. I can't wait to get more into it, or get in. I just started it like 2 days ago, like the book.
Gerald is saying he did bring it to his therapist. That's so great.
That is
Um,
great.
there's a part here where Tom's talking about by taking up the mantle of fortune teller, we are aligning ourselves with a traditionally marginalized group.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on to really talk about that. And previously, he's been talking about how um, fortune telling is political, in his opinion, and
Mm-hmm.
I would totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, here's maybe the section I was looking for before about predicting the future. So this is from Tom's book. When asked, most people that I spoke to in divination circles define fortune tellers as those readers who predict the future. That's for sure part of it, and it's definitely what prompted me to take this journey. I don't think that that's all there is to it though. I do believe predictive reading is essential to the fortune teller's toolkit. And I put a question mark next and I was like, okay, I'm going to explore that. I don't know. Is it essential? I don't know that I agree with him on that, but that's totally cool. Essential to the fortune teller's toolkit because it flies in the face of societal norms that deny humans a personal connection with the divine. In fact, I think that's why Christianity hates it so much. Fortune telling is competition. Why pay a priest when you can speak to the divine directly?
True.
Prediction isn't what makes the fortune teller societally unacceptable. It's the middle finger to convention.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look around today, we discover there is a deep craving for liberation from convention, gatekeeping, and biased norms. And so the time of the fortune teller has returned, he says. And then in parentheses, insert deliciously wicked laugh here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, he goes on to say fortune teller is a political role simply because the fortune teller's thumb or nose at musty power structures.
I like that. Musty power structures for sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Even though there was divination in the Bible. And we talked about that at the start, it's like, oh, no, but only you've got to go through this, religion to keep us all controlled. And that's the way it is. It was looking at our list of trying to compare and contrast the ones because I had a couple of people, two people, because I asked y'all, out and about, what were some tropes. And Lady Cara Tarot said the Roma woman in a tent at a fair. She also put the reader in the cluttered house with too much of everything stacked around in dusty Victorian furniture. And number 3, she says, the highly sensationalist and overdramatic reader where every outcome is totally devastating, but you can purchase a charm to protect against that.
Okay. That leads us into our final one on our list, right? That we haven't
Yes.
talked about. Yeah.
Yes. That's so funny.
Those are
It's so true.
good. Lady Cara, I just found her channel recently. I've been really enjoying a lot of her posts and tags that she does, tarot tags that she does.
Yes.
So, yeah. So the
Yes. I'm
last one
loving her
I
channel too.
yeah. Um she's a fellow thespian and musician. She's got a theater music background.
Oh.
All readers. Okay, so the only other one we haven't talked about on my list. I don't know, maybe you've got
Mm-hmm.
a couple more, Kim. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You had a few more you didn't tell me about, but
Yeah, I wanted to
um.
surprise you.
Okay. All right. Let's do this one quick. I don't want to spend too much money on this time. 'Cause this one bothers me. But it's what Kim just mentioned. So all readers perform what I call spooky services, cursing, hexing, etc., things like that. And I'm here
Yeah.
to tell you that is not true because that's not my gig. That's not what I'm about.
Mm-mm. Not what I'm about either. I mean, hey, more power to you if that is what you do. It is not what I've chosen to do in my practice. Um, and I'm far be it for me to knock anybody's practices of what they wish to do. It's just that we're not, again, it harkens back to we're not all the same. And like, for example, on Etsy, you're not allowed to be advertising that you're doing curses and hexes. You can get
Right.
booted right off. And I'm assuming it's this, not assuming, I know for hotlines.
It is.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
I
Now,
mean, at
maybe there's
least
a
the
way
two
to,
I've, yeah.
yeah, you can finagle it away, but I don't even mess with it because I don't want no problems.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's every now and then somebody will ask me, well, do you know anything about any curses or how can I? I'm like, no. Even if I did, I'm not sharing it with you. It's my business. So,
That's so funny. Yeah. And I think like the subtext of this one about the spooky services, that gets such a bad rep, and rightfully so, is that um then the reader is a con artist is looped in there too, and also finding a way to keep you dependent on them. So there's
mhm,
a comeback. Okay, no, you need one more, we got to do one more little charm or curse or ritual or whatever,
yeah,
otherwise your fate is damned. You hear all these stories, and there's still people that do that. I mean, they're real actual cases that make the news every once in a while, the people that are scamming large amounts of money out of people.
that's true.
But
Hence why that town, I think there was a while ago, that town that I mentioned at the start, that was the town over that would not allow people to, you could have a metaphysical store, but you could not collect money for readings or any of the things like that, those kind of services. And I want to say out of Citrus Heights, there was some kind of big to do, something happened that kicked that off. But in other towns around Citrus Heights, we didn't have that, or we didn't
mm,
have that ordinance or that rule or law or what have you. So it's interesting. Something usually will happen and they'll be like, looks like we're going to have to get a law in the books because somebody don't win. And it's not all scams, by the way. I know some people who are powerful practitioners, who practice hoodoo, voodoo, um, and they have certain capabilities. And I'm not knocking them. And hey, that's
right.
fine. But I just, for my simplicity life that I aim for, I just I don't go there. It just, I don't.
Agreed.
That's,
And really, I think all that we're saying, I'll speak for myself. All that I'm saying is, we're doing a thing about tired old tropes. And to me, this is a tired old trope about that card readers are all like that. No, we're not. We don't all do cursing and hexing. But there are
mm-hmm,
all kinds of practitioners who will do that for you if that's what you want, need, or interested in. But
mm-hmm,
don't come to a card reader assuming that they are going to do that, that
mm-hmm,
they, know anything about doing that. Or, yeah.
exactly.
And don't be, shouldn't be afraid that like, oh, they're going to get you involved with that. No, they're just going to read your cards and they're going to answer
Yeah,
your question. So,
exactly. And a great practitioner, a reader, will outline what it is that they do. They typically have a list. We have a list of what we don't do. We're very good about and clear through our years of experience of what we don't do. So a good practitioner will outline, what services that they offer. And, and if you have questions, ask your reader. Yeah, just point blank ask them. Send
right.
them a message like, I'm not sure, do you do this? Or is this part of what you do? I've had really newbie clients, new to readings, period. Because someone who knows me will recommend them. They're like, you've got to get a reading. And so then they come to me and they have never had a reading before. And so they have all these like preconceptions in their head. And I have to kind of, again, educate them about how I approach cards. And I'm not going to put some curse in there for you or on your behalf because no, that's not what we're doing. And
Right.
yeah, so
Yeah, and just one final thing about, I would say, like, like any other service or thing you're interested in, right? Like, do your research. So if you want to go have a reading with somebody, like, check them out. Do they have a website? Go look at their website. Like my website,
mhm,
I have a whole bio page. You can read all the major teachers that I've studied with. I proudly list all my trainings there. You can
true.
check it out. And then you could message me and say, hey, I just want to ask or clarify, blah, blah. What exactly did you study with Denise Lynn? Okay, well, I can tell you. I did 4 major trainings with her, over 5 years.
Hmm.
So do your research, like know who you're getting involved with.
Right.
It's easy to do that these days. You just hop online and check somebody out.
True. It would behoove you to,
Yeah,
so because
absolutely.
you want to try to find a good fit, just like with therapists and with other, service oriented folks. You want to just make sure that it could be as best of a fit and as possible, is what I'll say. So, so yeah.
Here's another comment from Donna. I feel like readers who do that are magical practitioners first and readers second. That's interesting.
I
If you
could see
want
that.
those services, you have to look for that. Yeah.
And I'm thinking of a couple of people, one person in particular where she is like into folk magic and some hoodoo practice, but she's like mostly it's I think folk magic. And yeah, she would do readings as well, maybe even use readings to help guide what kind of magic that the person needs, which I thought was fascinating and cool. But does she believe in that justice magic and, maybe hexing and things of that nature? Yes, she does. So there's that. So I can see what you mean, Donna Riedler. I can see what you mean on that.
Cool.
That's a good point.
Okay, so now I want to hear Kim's got some items on her list that she didn't tell me about. She wants me to be surprised. Okay.
I surprise you.
What else?
Let's see. So before I get into my little, now it's kind of a shorter list because there was overlap, right? It's kind of short. So Miss Vibrant Love had mentioned the number one I have is that, and we talked about this, that somehow we're out to scam people. And another idea, and this is what's going to segue into my personal list. She says another is the idea that we follow a specific religion or the occult, which is piggybacking to, and even with the occult, maybe you're not into doing hexes and things of that nature and curses. But I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to those who had submitted them. But we are maybe not practicing the occult. I didn't approach reading cards for that purpose. Now, I know some people will lump cartomancy in under the occult. You remember back in the 90s, like in the bookstores where we have our tiny little section, and it might even say like it lumps the, new age, occult, blah, blah, blah. And so I could see how the general public would be like, oh yeah, you're just all a part of that. And it's like, actually, no, I'm not. But I get it. I understand why we arrived here, but that's just another one. So yeah.
That's a really good point though. I mean, if you even just think about like the bookstore, right? The bookstore used to be such a big deal. It's kind of where we all used to go to learn about worldly things that we didn't know much about, especially pre-internet, right?
True.
And how many topics, like I'm just visualizing my old, Barnes and Noble back in New York, like shamanism, occult, like fae, fairy, like Celtic spirituality, tarot, oracle, numerology, angels, like it's all still kind of in there. I don't even know what they call it. What do they even call it anymore?
I think maybe New Age from the last I saw, but it's kind of near the self-help section, which is cool.
Right.
It's cool, but I remember that they kind of just one big umbrella.
Big blob. No wonder, like we get all this stuff laid on. Well, you're all just that, right?
Yeah.
Just a big dollop of like all things woo.
Yeah, all things woo. Don't you know astrology? Like, I'm not an astrologer.
Astrology, that's a big one. Like astrology, one of the most ancient, sophisticated arts and sciences, right? But like there's a lot to know about astrology. Anyway.
True.
It's kind of interesting.
It is. So so I had to touch on that. Let's see. So I'll just kind of run through my little list. It says the mystical and exotic appearance. And it says here, often depicted where, and I'm going to be honest, I used some of these were my own, and then some of these were AI, and I kept them because I'm like, this is kind of on point. It says often depicted wearing flowing, dark or brightly patterned clothes, heavy jewelry, and sometimes a headscarf or turban. They may have a dramatic or mysterious look. And for me, I think I rebelled against my Aquarian spirit, rebelled against that. I tried to be like your friend next door kind of energy. I think I talked to you yesterday, Donna, about I don't even get my nails done like that. Like, I'm just gal next door. That's who I am. I want to show up as I am. If I want to wear jewelry, sure, fine. But it's even with a purpose. This is, my citrine, right? My crystals that I'm using and working with, right? So I have to say that. Any thoughts about the mystical and exotic appearance, Donna?
I for sure, I think that's totally a real thing. And I kind of love that one. Like that's one of for me, that's one like what is it you always say about like you get take a little like perverse humor in what is that? We've talked about that. Like
Yeah. Um, oh
it's something
gosh.
about cartomancy, right? And
Yes. Oh gosh. I
I'm
know
putting
we
us
had. Yeah.
putting you on the spot, both of us on the spot, but like, yeah, Kim was the first one to say to me, like, oh, I just, that I kind of go with that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with that, like I like to dress funky. I always kind of look a little different usually than most people,
Right.
and so I'm cool with that. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that.
And
But
that's
yeah.
it's not bad. And truth be told, yeah, there was times when I would go out when I was working the festivals and being doing the readings in public. I might have a certain outfit on. I might do my makeup a certain way. I might, I wouldn't get my nails done. I've stopped getting my nails done decades ago now. But I would kind of,
Yeah, zhuzh up a little. Yeah,
zhuzh up
funk
a
it up.
little and get like a mystical and all. I will do that. But if I'm just like doing like readings, like a Zoom reading with a client, I'm not doing that. They get to see Tropical Kim, and Tropical Kim is wearing a tank top because it's hot,
Hot.
and
Totally.
her hair is pulled up, and that is what it is. So there you have
No,
it.
but so I totally get what you're saying. So normally my normal life I do that, but then when I read for the first time at a fair this summer, I purposely dressed like the norm around here. You know what I mean? I showed up in
Mhm.
my little like flannel
Ah.
shirt because you never know when fog's rolling in. It could be chilly. I just had like jeans and I toned it down. I did not
Mm-hmm.
do like,
Ah.
you know, so,
Yeah.
but we'll see what I do this summer. I don't know. I may like show up in full flowy garbs.
Like you're going to the Renaissance fair or something like that.
Right. See that it probably comes out of that, right? Because a
It
lot of
does.
people know tarot and card reading from the Renaissance fair, which is
That's true.
fun, which is
It
fun.
is fun. It's totally
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I can dig it. And again, I love the aesthetic. It's just for me personally, I aim for comfort first and foremost in my
Absolutely.
older years. So that's just what's the priority. Now, the next one, I'm totally all up in this trope. Okay, so the next one, it says the dimly lit, cluttered setting. Now, my table, I don't think it's clutter, but it's got a lot of stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of crystals and baubles and doodads and cards and random stuff. My cute little radio that I love dearly.
Oh,
It's a
that's
little boom
adorable.
box. It's so cute.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, it says reading rooms are frequently shown, and this is what I think one of my peeps had said. It goes along with this, but it says reading rooms are frequently shown as dark, draped in velvet, filled with incense smoke. Totally guilty. I'm into incense.
Love me some incense.
And cluttered with crystals, candles, skulls, and other esoteric objects. And I wrote a little note to myself. I will admit, I love a crystal laden table chock full of baubles and trinkets. I mean, that's me. So
And I
guilty as
love a
charged.
I mean, uh, yeah, if you could see literally, I'm like on my little reading station here right in front of my monitor, and there's a bunch of crystals for sure. And there's a candle lit, and I smudged before, and I got sprays right here, whatever I need, and the decks are all over here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I would just say to that, like, I love a velvet reading cloth. I have this
Oh.
beautiful piece of deep purple velvet that I've had for like a long time, probably close to 20 years now, that I got in an attic sale. And I
Oh.
used for years, I ran a spirituality group at my church. And it was always, I made a little altar in the center of the room, and it has just so many good vibes in it. And so now it's one of my main reading cloths for people, and I love it. And it has
Wow.
that feel of like purple velvet, you know what I
It's
mean?
purple velvet,
It
mysterious, but
sets
it's
the mood.
storied. Yeah, it does
Yeah.
set the mood, but it's got history too. It's not just like, oh, you went down to your or you ordered off of Amazon and you got it and you slapped it on the table. Like you've got, it's got a story to tell. I love it. I love it. So,
Here's a funny comment from Donna. My space is kind of like that. Crystals, reeks of incense, surrounded by decks and books. No velvet though.
no, the velvet. Yeah,
All right,
mine's
that's okay. You
that
don't
is
know.
okay. I would have velvet probably in Sacramento, but out here, if it got on my legs, like I use sarongs. These are sarongs. I just
Yeah.
go down to this beachy store and I see what they brought in stock and what I think would look good against my cards. And then I go with that because when it slips on my legs, it's not hot and heavy. But I would totally be into velvet and I tapestries and all the things. Totally, totally. But there are some readers just, and this is why I think it's a great trope or stereotype to consider, that they just have their bare wooden table, maybe a candle, maybe, and or just their cards, and that's completely beautiful too. The sparse table, I can dig it. It's just for me,
Hmm.
the more the merrier with the stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like Donna R is saying here, a card reader might not necessarily be spiritual at all. So that's why it's
Yeah,
a trope. Like, just be careful. You don't know. Like, some people are really into tarot because can be this very exacting system, and you can like learn it by the book, and then you bring in astrology. Like, they like the real formula of it, the kind
yeah.
of black and white way of doing it. And they're not really intuitive or spiritual or whatever.
Right.
They have a
Oh, it's a
different,
great
yeah. So
different approach, right?
different approach. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. I was trying to get rid of that one. Okay. And then she said this before. People were expecting exotic from me. They would be highly disappointed.
That was my perverse joke to my internal self. Like I want to kind of like blow their little minds. Like I'm not the traditional reader in your mind or what you think the stereotypical reader. I'm just yeah.
Oh, I know what it's like when people squirt. I know what it is. It's when like people say, "What do you do?" And you proudly say, "Yeah, I read
Ah!
cards."
And I like to
We've
see
had,
them
Kim and I have had a
squirm.
lot of conversations about. I'm like, how do you do that? And how do you? She's like, I just take a little perverse pleasure in watching them squirm when I tell them that
I
I'm a card
do.
reader. And I'm like, okay, okay, that's something to work towards. Like, that's
I
great.
love it. It
It's
blows
the
their mind.
the
It is
rebel
the
in
rebel.
you.
Every time I go to like a little dinner function out here, because inevitably they'll ask, well, how did you end up here? Where are you from? I'm like, California. I'm like, oh, what do you do? What do you do with your time? I'm a card reader. What? I'm like, yeah, I'm a tarot card reader. And I love it. Like you said, I get a perverse like reaction on the inside, like, ha!
Freaked them out. I caught them off guard. They're
Like,
uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
yeah. They're like, what? Yep, that's what I do. That's what I love to do. So yeah, it's a thing for me.
But there's real, like, look at the way she just told that story. Like, there's such empowerment in that. And like, I love that. Like, that's what I'm striving to, find more sense of like, hey, this is just who I am. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, this is who I am. Like, you can take it or leave it, and you can assume whatever. But I
Yep.
think to get to that stage, what I tend to be a little like private and a little, like,
True.
so I can come off as extroverted, but I'm actually really more introverted.
Yeah.
And so I think I've shied away from that because then like there's going to be a whole series of questions and I never know what they're going to ask.
Yeah.
And I'm not always up for it, like
Oh,
mentally,
I
emotionally,
know.
physically, like, okay, okay, what are they going to want to know? What are they going to want to ask me?
That's
So I
true.
I have found it easier to just say, well, I'm an artist or I'm a, whatever, I just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Kim's approach of like, yeah, just let it rip and like take pleasure in watching them be like, you what? Like,
That's
and
right.
people will surprise you. And
They will.
and Kim has taught me that like the more I kind of come out of the woo closet in my new current life here, like I'm just so delighted that I have been embraced. I have yet to encounter any kind of real like backlash or
You're like,
you know,
oh, what?
right.
Yeah. It's
You know, but
definitely, yeah, it's a go ahead.
you know, again, I'm just myself. You know, the real key is like to be yourself. So, you
Right.
know, I'm just trying to be a good member of the community. I'm respectful of people of all, you know, people of all walks of life, and I want the same. You know, I'm asking the same for me. Like, don't judge me just because this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when all else fails, I just whip out of my back pocket that I'm a Christian, and then that calms them down.
Yeah.
Because I am, you know, I am born and raised a Christian. I still consider myself a Christian. I'm not
Yeah.
church going. I'm not particularly practicing right now. But that's what it comes, because there's a lot, because the culture here in North America anyway is still very Christian based.
Right.
People have all these half-conscious beliefs about us as card readers that really come from Christianity
True.
and misreporting of, you know, misinterpretation of the Bible, in my opinion, and, you know, preachers that don't have the best of intentions all the time. But there
True.
are many, many wonderful, good preachers too.
Of course, and great Christians too, for
Right.
sure. I mean, sometimes I could tell, like if I say, "Oh, there's some people out in this world, or at least out here, that doesn't even really understand even what tarot is." So sometimes I'll say, "Oh, I do like spiritual coaching," and then they'll ask, "Well, with what, or what about?" And then I'll just say, "I use cards," and I try to describe to them what that is, and they still have a quizzical look, but they don't like judge me or say I'm going to hell. Like, it's just this what I do. It's just I try to make it as natural as when I used to say I'm an analyst. I used to be an arbitrator. I just be like, this is what I do. You
Mm-hmm.
know. Let's see. Ah, let's see.
So Donna R saying, when she first discovered Tarot Tube, I was surprised to find out that readers have all kinds of day jobs. I thought I wouldn't fit in because I used to be an engineer and not very woo.
Ah, look
You
at
know,
that.
I that's one of the things I loved about right away too. I was like, look at it. There's people from all walks of life, and they're like as into cards as I am. How great is that?
That's right.
There's so many readers, Gerald's saying, so many readers that come from various spiritual paths. And I think that's what makes it interesting. I totally agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree, and that's what keeps me, just engaged in the community and learning from each other, from their. Now I'm going to adopt their spiritual paths, not necessarily, but I can learn, and that can help me to show up better for myself and better for others, my clients, by saying, "Oh wow, so and so does this in their practice." Okay,
Hmm.
yes. Sometimes that
Spiritual
lands softer.
coaching.
That lands a
Yeah, I
little
use that one a
softer.
lot. I use that a lot. Spiritual
Yeah.
coaching or counseling, or yeah. If I'm,
Hmm.
or I sometimes I say soul, I'm a soul coach because I am actually a trained soul coach, a certified soul coach. So
Hmm.
I can totally legit use that one. Yeah.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
Learning about
it.
people's beliefs and experiences.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think when I was in seventh grade, I wanted to be a cultural anthropologist. When I first started understanding anthropology, there's the different branches, and I love people. And so I love just studying people and their lives and their cultures and what they do, and they're in their day to day. So I love this. I love it. I never tire of it. Never tire of it. I
Yeah.
wanted to
It's
be
a
a.
great way to meet people, right? Like being a
Hmm.
reader, it's a fun way to meet people from all walks of life, which
For
is
sure. It really is. So yeah, let me see. Some of them I'll run through quickly. This one was funny. This was AI generated. It says the cryptic vague advisor. They speak in riddles, dramatic pronouncements, or overly flowery, ambiguous language that could apply to anyone. And I wrote a little note. I said, I like my readings grounded in words most can understand.
mm,
Yes, sometimes spirit delivers abstract messages, of course, but I'm usually able to latch onto verbiage that many can understand. That's my aim. That's part of my my professional background of having to communicate and make sure people understand what I'm saying and speak in layman's terms. Like that's very important to me. But you've seen those readers. You've seen those. Let me see. We talked about this one. We touched on it. The dramatic prophet of doom. I think Donna Reeler mentioned, like they focus on predicting negative events, tragedies, or curses, often to create drama or fear. And I see that a lot in true crime, political, and conspiracy theory readings on YouTube or probably on TikTok, right? Doom and I wrote doom and fear brings views, for sure. They bring views. I'm just not in. As far as I can go, I can just go to true crime, and that's about it. Some people want me to do political readings. I don't think I can go there. I'm tired. So yeah, it brings views. And then this one we kind of touched on as well. The hereditary or gifted practitioner. They are often shown as having inherited the ability from a grandmother or a long line of practitioners, implying the skill isn't something that can be learned. And we did talk about this a bit, but only a certain person has the ability to read or be psychic and this and that. And it's just, I don't ascribe to that, but I can understand how that could be a potential trope or stereotype. Now, this one was interesting. This was AI generated. It says the lonely reclusive figure. They live apart from mainstream society, perhaps in a trailer, a hidden back room, or a storefront on a forgotten street. I am introverted, believe it or not. So I was like, I don't feel like that's. I mean,
that's a weird one.
That is a weird one. I don't agree.
I wonder where they get this from. Like,
yeah,
was there more
it
than
is a
one
movie.
I was just thinking it's like there was more than one character in a movie like that, so AI decided that,
that's what we do, and maybe we're the hermit. Like. Yeah, I don't know. And then the ones that I personally came up with, the love and money specialists. Their readings are solely focused on finding the one or giving stock market tips or oversimplifying the complex and psychological and spiritual uses of the cards. And I wanted to share this because a while back, my hotline tagline was that I used to be a love destiny specialist. And then I changed it to Oracle and Tarot Insights as a way to distance myself from the word destiny, because destiny didn't really align with my belief of free will. And I was getting all kinds of people who were asking for like soulmate readings and twin flame readings and what's my love destiny. And again, there's people who do those types of readings, no problem. That's for them. It just didn't work for me. And because a lot of times they think we could just, we're going to find their one. I don't believe in us having the one. I believe in us having many options for love. So there's that. That don't work. And then the last two, I don't know why my scroll button isn't working. Okay. Kind of combined. The unpaid therapist and confidant and gifted readers do not charge. So the unpaid therapist confidant, it says, while often helpful, a trope that that these readers primarily are a passive listener for the querent's woes without providing concrete, actionable guidance beyond the cards. If y'all don't know by now, after watching this live with Donna and I, what we've been talking about is we like to empower. So clearly that doesn't work. The unpaid therapist and confidant, where we just sit there and, maybe throw a couple of cards and say, this is your fate. Okay. No, it's a dynamic reading experience for me and my client or querent. And the last one, gifted readers do not charge. There is a belief that these offerings should be free, being the operative word. It's okay if you want to do free readings. I did free readings for a very long time, and I still do from time to time. Not a problem. But it's because these gifts and talents were God sent, people think we should not charge for them. And our energy and time is valuable. Oftentimes, readers are giving a lot of readings for free, even professional readers, right? But that doesn't mean that they should always do so. And we have to eat and pay our bills too. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think in large part that whole idea of like, oh, it should be for free. That comes from a long, long time ago when society was structured very differently.
True.
Money wasn't first and foremost like it is now. Like now you have to pay for everything. We have to pay
True.
for everything. So
Right.
why wouldn't and every service. So why wouldn't she pay for someone's time to give you spiritual guidance or
Exactly. I mean, many people have no qualms about throwing something in the collection plate at church. They have no qualms about that. But, oh, a reader, they shouldn't be charging. That should be free. I cringe every time I see it, like in chat room. I'm dating myself, chat rooms, message boards. But it's just like, no, I don't ascribe to that at all. Like, I don't mind paying another reader, even if they say I'm not charging. I'm going to give them something or tip them
right.
something or something.
Energy exchange.
Energy, yeah, energy
And
exchange.
that's all well and good if you have a good paying day job that pays all your bills. But not everybody has that. There's so much what's the word? Like privilege built into an assumption like
Mm,
that. Like,
it's
listen, we all got to make a
so
living one way or
for
another.
sure.
And a lot of people have to do have multiple streams of income. And this is one of the ways that they choose to earn money. So don't look down on people if they charge.
Exactly. Please don't.
That's not cool.
I mean, I did have a long-standing career, like, that was my primary earnings. And then I started doing readings on the side, and I did a lot of readings for free because my bills were paid. But then I wanted to transition to doing this more on like a full-time basis. So it necessitated me having to charge, and I still keep them reasonable. I see some readers charge a lot, and I don't, I'm like, oh, I may not be like, I can't afford that, but I don't begrudge them for charging what they feel they are worth, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my list.
Wow, you had some really good ones in there. Awesome. We
Oh, but
really covered some ground here with some tropes. Hope we busted some myths and told some good stories.
yes. Bye, Gerald.
Yeah,
Yes.
bye, Gerald. Thanks for joining
Um, thank
us.
you. But yeah, I hope we busted some myths and get the conversation going, and share this video, because especially for those who say something kind of weird or something like that, you just drop this link to this video up in there. And you just be like, no, you need to understand
Educate
that.
yourself.
Yeah, educate yourself. You need to
Hmm.
get educated. So
And those of you interested, Kim and I are gonna be plugging Tom's book. We just think it's so awesome, and I'm sure we'll do more conversations here with topics that he covers because he covers a lot of
he
great ground
does.
in here. So
Yes, it will be wonderful topics that we'll explore on our series, Artistry of Cartomancy. So stay tuned.
oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Donna, for all your
Thank
great
you,
comments. You
Donna.
really contributed a lot. We're glad that
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
For
Thanks.
sure. Yes. So, yep, we'll just be here. It's an ongoing series, and we will be alternating channels. Donna, my channel, so join us. Join us.
Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you again. Take good care.
Take care. Bye.